Tracy. All right, we're waiting for Isabel. Hi, Lori. Hi, Adam. All right, here we go. Hey, Isabel.
Good
How are
morning.
you?
Good.
I like your haircut. It's very
Thank
cute.
you.
Hmm. All right. Hi, everyone. We decided to start a little early since it takes some time for people to join. Oh, hi, Tom. I'm working on your problem. I'm hoping to get an answer shortly. Hi, Angela. Angela is Matterport's superstar salesperson.
Oh,
She's the
awesome.
one. If you need anything, she's the one. Hi, James. You're welcome, Craig. Hi, Simon. Hey, everyone. All right, welcome to Facebook Live. As always, it's Isabel here joining me. I'm Dee. For those of you who don't know me, I am from support, and we are here to answer any of your technical questions. So if you have some questions, hit us up. Hey, Paul. Hi, Gavin.
So I have a question. I was uploading a medium-sized model, maybe 120 scans yesterday, and I did not have the problems that many others have reported of it stopping or it
Mhm.
not uploading at all, but it was very much slower than
Yeah.
last month. Is that, and so what is causing that? Because we talked last week about it being possibly a capture glitch, but it wasn't not working. It was just um, like
Yes.
tripling.
Yeah. So currently there are a few known issues with uploading through Capture. One of them is what you're describing, where the upload is slow. I was working with somebody yesterday who had one that took like 12 hours. So it's very slow. We know about that issue. We're trying to troubleshoot and fix that one. Another issue is that uploads are stuck at 0 and never go beyond that. And then another one is they get stuck somewhere along the line. If that happens, contact support will help you troubleshoot. But basically, if you're having issues uploading, what you should do is sign out of Capture, force close the Capture app, turn off your iPad, wait about a minute, turn it back on, go back into Capture, log back in, and see if things start progressing. If not, you can make a copy and upload that. Sometimes that will unstick things. And then failing all of those, contact support. We will help you manually upload. Yeah, so my apologies for anybody who's experiencing any issues. We're working on trying to figure out what's going on and to get a fix out there.
Awesome.
So yes, thanks for bringing that up. Hi, Laura. Hi, Fatima. Hey, Jack. All right, do we have any questions? Oh, so a lot of you know that last week we announced our partnership with Verbo and HomeAway. That seems to be working pretty well. We've had a lot of successful uploads. It's very similar to Google Street View, where you upload a space and it turns your scans into 360 panos. It automatically uploads those to either HomeAway or Verbo. You just provide it with a link to the listing on one of their sites. The main difference between that and Google Street View is that there's an extra step where after it's done publishing, you get an email that says, take a look at it first and let us know if you like it, and then push a button and then it goes. You can turn that off if you want in settings, but it's very similar to Google Street View. So if you haven't tried it already, I suggest you try it. It's completely free right now. So yeah.
Right now, what does that mean? Uh-oh.
No. So as far as I know, there are no plans to charge for it. However, I can't tell you necessarily in the far future, but for right now, it's free. So Try it out. You have to be scanning, of course, a building that is listed on HomeAway or Verbo. So that's sort of that would be something that would prevent a lot of people from uploading. But if you do scan for them, then definitely try it out.
Craig has a question about tours made with the theta V. And so, Craig, the algorithm is different. So, on Matterport cameras, the scan placement is based on both the imagery and also the infrared sensors. So, when you spin the camera's infrared light is sensing where the objects are. And that data is used to determine where the scans go. So for instance, it'll know that, hey, you were close to the table before, but now you're 3 more feet away. So your scan must be 3 feet further away. And on the theta, this is simulated. So Matterport's AI software, it reaches into its vast database of other scans, and it says, well, based on the looks of your panos, it seems that you may be 3 feet from the table, but I am not sure. And is it being tuned? Yes, because the AI database is growing. And so the more reference and data that the software has, the better it'll get. But for now, the limitation is that it is not based on measurement. So on the Matterport cameras, the scan placements are based on actual measurement. It actually knows, right, if the infrared light comes back in so many milliseconds, then that means you're so far away. But the theta scans don't know any of this.
Yeah. So remember that when you scan using the theta or any spherical camera, it's inferring the 3D data based on this artificial intelligence software that we have. But once it's inferred that data, it's treated just like a normal scan. Right. If you have misalignments in a space that was created using a spherical camera, those are usually not fixable because the 3D data is inferred and it's not accurate enough, so that when we try to go and fix it, the software just gets completely confused. So be very careful when you are scanning with those cameras that you pay very close attention to where the scans are being placed, and if they're wrong, don't ignore that. Delete it and rescan.
Question from Martin. This is my dream. Is it possible to take a BLK or even a Theta or a Insta360 Pro and import external panos into Matterport? Because these devices have internal storage and they can store the stuff. And wouldn't it be nice, if it didn't work, to try again? So it's not available now, Martin. And I just hope that one day we can import panos.
Good answer. Hi, Pablo. Hi, Fatima. Do we have any other questions?
Do we have any other third-party devices that are being tested? I know there's a lot of questions about the Insta360 Pro.
No. So the only supported devices right now are the Ricoh Theta Theta V, the Ricoh Theta Z1, which is currently still in beta, but will shortly go into general release, and the Insta360 1X. So, and as we support more cameras, those will be announced as they come out.
All right. Dustin had some small issue uploading the tours.
Yes.
The vacation rental. So it's not viewable on mobile, it seems. So
yes, so that is true. So the Help Center actually has been updated, and let me pull that up and I will read it to you. But yeah, it doesn't work on mobile devices yet. They're working on that.
So is it an issue on the HomeAway and Verbo's end, or is it something that Matterport is working on?
That's a good question. I don't know, but this is what it says. 360 tours are live on the desktop websites and mobile websites of Vrbo and HomeAway. Exploring the tours on Vrbo, HomeAway's iOS or Android mobile apps is coming soon.
Okay. Very good. Question about spherical cameras. So, which of the better three spherical cameras has a better tool quality? So I think that the Z1 tours do look sharper and
Yes.
better.
Yeah. I think the images from the Z1 are better. I think it gives the Matterport camera more of a run for its money. So if you're going to invest in any one of those, I would purchase the Z1. However, it is more expensive for a reason. All right, so Melissa asks, I have a client wanting me to come back and rescan certain areas of the home now that we are in spring and summer. Is it possible to rescan certain areas of a home and have everything aligned correctly?
I do this regularly with a space, with an art gallery space. So they change out certain rooms, but not others. And the question is, maybe you have to be careful. So when you go into a room that is now new, you should start in the hallway, which is the same as before. And you should try to go back when the time of day and weather is reasonably similar. So if last time you scan on a stormy night, don't go in a sunny morning, because then it may cause the camera confusion. And when you start in a space that has not changed, make sure that any furniture, products, whatever artworks are returned to their previous position to give the camera an easier time. And start at a point that's very close to a previously successful scan point, and then go into the room that is new. So it should work, but it's, the more similar the weather conditions and the lighting, the less of a discontinuity it'll be. You can mishmash different times of day, but then it'll be like, wow, I'm suddenly stepping into like nighttime. Wow, that's weird. So for consistency, it might take some timing, but it is possible.
Yeah, and if you just can't get it to work and you're on site and you're trying to add to the model that you already have, it's not aligning, what you can do is create a brand new model, and then we can stitch that into the existing one and then delete the scans from the original. So you just basically replace certain areas with the new model.
Yes, the magical surgery. And you can even not delete the previous room, right? So
You
you
can do
can
that.
have two the old and the new rooms side by side.
And then you can just hide them as well. You can do tricks like that. So yeah.
Rhonda wants to know if you can turn off a floor. You can, in Workshop, you can turn off the scans, all of the scans on the floor, but it'll still show up in the dollhouse view.
So turning off a scan means like hiding it. So definitely you can hide. You can't remove an entire floor from the dollhouse. You can say that you don't want to have people to be able to select the floors by using the URL parameter f=0, and that just means don't show me any of the floors and just make everything the same floor. Sometimes people like to use that.
And so if you want to make the floor completely inaccessible without reprocessing, so the first way is to go back to your iPad, delete the floor, and re-upload it for processing. And then you will have a model without that floor. If you don't want to wait, then you hide the floors in Workshop, and then you turn off both the floor selector and the dollhouse view, so that people cannot go to the dollhouse and see that there is a magical invisible floor.
So Kumar Swami says, what is the maximum scan points a model is limited? All right, good question. So the supported number of scans per model is 200, which includes 360 views. However, that's not a hard limit. If you go past 200, you'll get an orange dot and then a red dot warning you in the Capture app. But plenty of people go over 200. So just There is actually no hard limit. So the limitation will be when you go to upload scans. Models that have over 1,200 scans typically will fail to process. Models with, I'd say, 800 or more scans typically don't perform well, but performance is totally based on the computer that you're trying to view the space with. So remember, more scans, more square footage, and more 3D data will cause performance to degrade. And sometimes your customers won't be happy with that. So there's a lot of factors. If you can get away with splitting a model into several sections and then connecting them with matter tags, sometimes that's a good solution. But I've seen a lot of really large models that are beautiful and that work really well. So it's up to you.
I thought it was interesting what you mentioned a couple of weeks back about the amount of 3D data. So I wasn't aware of that, and I think many others may not be either. So if you scan an empty warehouse, then there's not a lot of 3D data. There's the walls, the floors, the ceiling. And so even if you have 1,000 scans, each scan contains less data than if the warehouse was full of very small products cluttering every shelf from floor to ceiling. Because then what Matterport has to render is the shape of thousands of small objects. And so each scan becomes more data intensive. And 1,000 of those scans may perform worse. So I had not thought of that.
Yeah. What is the current space with the most scans? The most I've ever seen process is about 1,300. I did see one that was it was some theater in Australia. It looked like the Sydney Opera House, but it wasn't. It looked like a mini version. It was absolutely marvelous. There were 1,000 scans. It worked beautifully, but the catch is the scans were dense, so it wasn't covering a lot of square footage, which is why it probably worked better. Yeah, we did. So Rhonda says that she wants to stop somebody from going to the basement. Yeah, then just hide all those scans and they won't be able to go to the basement, but they will be able to see it in the dollhouse. If you still don't want them to see it in the dollhouse, like Isabel said, you can just hide the dollhouse.
So the 200 scan point limit was, implemented a long time ago, and many of us wonder if that
Yeah.
warning should be eliminated because newer people, they start panicking. They're like, "Oh, I'm at 199 and I
Yeah.
still have another floor to go. Should I stop now?" And the answer is probably not.
Yeah, so you're correct, and our product team is looking into that, but I just don't have any information on that. It is currently set at 200 for supported. I think somebody, Dustin, did somebody try? Oh no, the last challenge we had was how many matter tags could you enter before you broke it? No, I think it was
Highlight reel, highlight reel.
yeah,
How
how many
many?
thumbnails can you put in the highlight reel before you broke it? I don't think anybody got to where they broke it. So there's a challenge. So yeah, if you want to see examples of large spaces, I can't share those with you because those are, private for the clients. But if you go onto MOUG and you ask for people to share, I'm sure people would be happy to share with you. I've seen some beautiful spaces that are large and a lot of proud MSPs out there who created them. And I'm sure a lot of them would be willing to share.
Maybe Matterport should have a top records list. What is the like an FAQ session that talks about the maximum capability, so that people know what is the maximum number of scans ever achieved. What is the longest highlight reel ever created?
Like the Matterport Book of Records.
Yes, exactly. Yes, that would be super fun.
Uh-oh. John says he's having issues with spaces not processing. What do you mean, John? They're uploaded, I assume, and they're just processing forever? What? I need more information. Oh, here we go. Tom shared one. 53,000 square foot space. Amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. I've seen some really beautiful scans. Just Yeah. Yeah, nobody has successfully broken the highlight reel by adding too many thumbnails. So if you want a challenge, there you go. All right.
So John, I think I've heard of
Oh,
this
so
many times actually. So people would upload and the iPad would say space uploaded at 2 a.m. But then you go and log in and it's not there.
yeah,
So one possibility, if you have multiple accounts or if you have access to other people's accounts to being a collaborator, check everywhere and make sure that it didn't get. No, I've done this
I
many,
know.
many times. Make sure it didn't get uploaded to the wrong account. And if it still doesn't show up, then try to upload it again to the correct account and make sure that, so it will not, the model will not come back unless you see it spinning in your account.
Yeah. And he did that. It sounds like he made a copy and uploaded. Sometimes it gets stuck and you do have to make a copy, which forces it through the pipeline. But you should definitely log in and check. It's safety, right? Because you don't want to go to bed thinking, oh, I've uploaded and you really haven't. Yeah, sorry, John. It sounds like you hit an anomaly. If you have two that are processing in your account now, reach out to me and I can stop one of them for you. Unfortunately, you can't do that, but support can definitely do that for you. Sorry. Oh, here's a good question. What dictates the time it takes for a scan to process? Square foot or number of scans?
And also the complexity of what's inside the scans, right?
Yeah, so we have actually a great Help Center article about time for processing. It is based on several, wait, hold on. It is based on several different factors. One is the number of scans. Let's see if I can read it. The upload speed, how fast it uploads, the processing queue. After you upload, your model goes into a queue and it waits for one of our meshers to be available to start processing. And if you use the blur faces option, it will take approximately 2 minutes more per scan. So if you have 1,000 scans, it will take 2,000 minutes more to process. So if you're in a hurry and you don't care about blurring faces, don't blur faces. The average time for a model to process is 8 hours, but again, it depends on all these other factors, mostly on the number of scans, and it's exponential. So a scan that has 10, a model that has 10 scans will process a lot quicker than a model that has 20, and it won't be half the time. So as you increase the number of scans, it is exponential. I have one actually that was processing since Friday and is still processing now.
How
Yeah.
big is it?
I don't remember, but it's big. Right now, I'm working with some people that are creating some amazing spaces that are big. Yeah. Like last night, I stitched one that went over, I think, 1,300, and I'm waiting to see if this one will work. So we'll see. Yeah.
So
So
Paul, when you say that the scans flew up at 950, part of the rate limiting factor could be your iPad. The newer your iPad and the more empty space you have available on the iPad, the more likely you're able to scan bigger scans. So on the 200 limit, maybe it does apply. For the kind of iPads that were on the market when Matterport implemented that limit. If you still have a very, very old iPad, then maybe even at 200, your iPad will say, hey, I'm done. So when you know that you can't scan anymore, it is when your capture app starts crashing or starts just refusing to align.
yeah, so you need at least 8 gigabytes of free data disk space on your iPad. If you have an older one, it is super recommended that you get a new one. Christmas is only half a year away. You can buy yourself an early Christmas present. But seriously, if you have the newer, more powerful iPads with more space, more RAM, things work a lot better. They work quicker. And there's a great article in our help center as well. I believe it's a community post that talks about the different iPads and the different speeds and all that. And Kirk did this great sort of comparison. It's really good. So check that out if you're interested. Hi, Justin.
So Raul has a space that did not process. And so is it possible to like diagnose when something doesn't process, is it possible to diagnose the
Yeah.
reason why or the area why?
Yeah, so Raul, write into support@matterport.com. We can look at the logs to see why it failed and go from there and give you some pointers. Yeah, sorry it failed.
You mentioned that when we upload a model, it waits for a measure to become available. How many measures are there?
So we just went to a new system, and it will actually create new ones as you need them. It used to be that it would wait in a queue and we only had to set them out, but now we have a better system, and so it's sort of on demand. So yeah, things should be processing quicker. But again, it depends on load. If we get a lot of people that are uploading all at the same time, it can be a little bit slower. Hey, Jeff, how are you? Hi, Marie.
And also, what kind of logs are available to the support in when something doesn't process? Like what information can we ask? Can we expect to ask for?
So we can typically tell you if it aborted because it's too large. I don't see a lot of spaces that fail to process, so I don't have a lot of information on what to tell you. I do know that sometimes we'll have like a known issue, and we can tell that from the logs, like, hey, you've run into this known issue, we're fixing it. I know that we can look at them and say, hey, it's just too big, it ran out of resources, so we can tell you those sorts of things.
So let's say that I'm scanning a space that has 2 floors and it failed. Can you tell me that, oh, the error is in floor 1, or does
No,
it? No.
no.
So like if you delete floor 1, maybe it'll process, or you need to go back and
Uh,
redo this section.
I mean, yeah, if you're trying to upload a really large space that has over 1,000 scans, my guess would be that it's too big. So you could make a copy and delete like one of the floors. If say if you had 2 floors, just delete one of the 2 and re-upload that and see if it works. Remember that if you do that and then you call me up and you're like, well, just stitch them back. Stitching them is the same as when you started when they were 1. So that's not going to help.
But I did have to do something like that once. I had a large space, and the client said, our computers are old, we cannot
Yeah.
look at this. Can you go and dice it up? And so what you do is you duplicate the model as many times as they ask for, and then for each model, you delete the unwanted areas, and this will give them multiple small models.
Yes, I've had that. Jerry Waddell scanned this great convention center. It was too big. It was too wieldy. Customers didn't like the performance, so I helped him split them up, and everybody's perfectly happy. And you can tag them with matter tags to go from one space to the next seamlessly. So that's another option.
Question from Jay: is it possible to integrate a scan that uses a Pro2 and a Theta? Yes, you can use as many devices as you want in the same model. You can just turn one device off, turn the other one on, connect it to Wi-Fi on your iPad, and keep going. But if you use a Theta for even one scan point, then you cannot buy a floor plan or a matter pack.
Yes, that is true. And soon you will be charged processing fees for that if you are in a classic plan. But the date for that is yet to be determined. It's probably going to be within the next month or 2.
And so, just to clarify, there was a question on the forum this morning about someone who was enabled. So, someone with an iPad with a whole bunch of old scans, but he needed to re-upload one, and it wouldn't go into the starter plan because the starter plan is only for the 360 cameras.
Yes. So if you currently have a starter plan and you are trying to upload a model that has even one scan that's not from a 360 spherical camera, it won't work. You need to upload to one of the classic plans or to one of the new non-starter or non-free accounts. Remember, you can only upload to those, the free and the starter, if it's 360 camera only. You can transfer other spaces into those plans that have been created with any camera, but you cannot transfer out. So those are one way. If you transfer a space into one of those accounts, then you cannot then transfer it out to anywhere else.
So question from Janae about pricing. So on the classic plan, nothing has changed yet, but Dee just mentioned that in the near future, if you use a spherical camera as Theta or Insta360, it'll be like the BLK, it'll be $29 for even one scan point, and it'll be $58 if it's a large space. And so that is and also for starting back in March, any large spaces, any spaces over 100 scans can no longer use the free credit. So those are the only two changes to the classic plan so far.
But if you're uploading a lot of scans that have spherical camera, that are using the spherical camera, just go ahead and upgrade to the new plans because processing is free.
Yes, but you can't keep any of the scans active.
Well, okay.
For many of us with many old scans that need to stay active.
Yeah, if you want support to look at the plan you're on and sort of go through a review with you, we'd be happy to do that. Right now we have a lot of people asking for help. So if you can just be a little bit patient with us, that would be super awesome.
So Marcel has a classic plan that is full, and if it's full, it's fine. You can just keep scanning because Matterport will just charge you another $19 a month for an extra batch of 50 spaces. So if you have 400 spaces, then your monthly fee will increase by $38. But there's no limit on the classic plan as far as how many more models you can host.
Yes. We have some people who are at 800.
Ooh.
Yep. You and I both know people that have that.
Yes. I mean, there are quite a few people. The longer you've owned your camera, the more likely you are to have a large database of spaces that need to be kept online. So it's inevitable. And even if you only scan, once a month, it's still, over time, it inevitably adds up.
Yep. That is true. All right. So we have hit the half-hour time limit. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I'm trying to get Paolo Tossolini to join us at some point, but we're still trying to work out the logistics of that. And we are trying to get some other people with some new things that they're working on to come on and talk about that. So those are coming, and that will be very exciting.
What about Emily? Is Emily going to join us?
Yeah, so she has actually some stuff, but she's not quite ready yet. So, but yes, she would be awesome, super awesome. And she's got some news I'm sure she will want to share at some point. So yeah, look for that coming up in the near future. But for right now, you're going to have to put up with Isabel and I. So the plan is next week, same time, same place. We'll see you then. Have a great week, everyone. Bye.